No one escapes. This 5 things you'll know right after death. You didn't see it coming. 1 second you were just living your life, scrolling your phone, walking into a room, thinking about tomorrow. The next, it's all gone. The noise, the rush, the deadlines, the plans. You're not breathing anymore. Your heart's not beating. And suddenly, something strange happens. You realize you're still there. You're still you. But everything has changed. This is the moment no one escapes. The moment when your soul steps out of your body. And for the first time, you see life for what it really was. You don't care about your bank account. You don't care how many people liked your last post. You're not worried about what you wore last week, or who misunderstood you. All of that fades. And what comes rushing in is truth. It's not blurry. It's not complicated. It's crystal clear. And it's terrifying, or beautiful, depending on how you lived. Most people never think about what really happens after death until they get there. But by then the questions don't matter anymore. Only the answers remain. So today, while you still have breath in your lungs and time on your side, I want to take you into that moment. The moment right after death. Because whether you're rich or poor, young or old, believer or skeptic, this moment is coming. And when it does, there are 5 things you will instantly know. You once did need to be told. You still just know. Let's talk about them. Part 1. That's it? The shock of how quickly life ends. It's hard to describe the feeling. You're standing there, still fully aware of yourself, but something is missing. You try to reach for your phone, call someone, scream, but no one responds. You look at your hands, and they're not really there, not in the way you remember. You see the world moving, people crying, lights flashing, but it's like you're behind a glass wall. You can't get back in. And that's when it hits you. It's over. Not next year, not someday. Now, your life just ended. And the first thing that floods your mind is this. That was fast. Most people imagine death as some distant event. Something for old age. Something we'll think about later. But the truth is, no one knows when their last moment will come. A heart attack. A drunk driver. A quiet night when you just don't wake up. It's not always dramatic. It's not always expected. And when it happens, almost everyone says the same thing, if they even get a chance. I thought I had more time. The Bible doesn't sugarcoat this. James 4:14 says, "You do not know what tomorrow will bring." What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Psalm 39:5 says, "Everyone's life is but a breath, a breath." That's how short life really is, especially when you're looking at it from the other side. When you're young, it feels like you have forever. When you're older, it feels like it passed in a blink. But after death, you'll see it clearly. It was always short, and you just didn't realize it. We spend so much time stressing over little things, deadlines, arguments, what other people think of us. But death has a way of stripping all that away. In those first few moments outside the body, you're not thinking about your to-do list. You're not thinking about your social media or career ladder. You're thinking, did I live well? Did I love people enough? Was I even paying attention? You'll remember the faces of people you hurt, but never apologized to. You'll remember the quiet nudges in your heart to forgive someone, but you held the grudge instead. You'll remember how you told yourself, "I'll get serious about life tomorrow." But tomorrow didn't come. And maybe the hardest part of all is realizing you can't go back. You can go back and hug your mom. You can call your child and say, "I am proud of you." You can't go back and make peace with the friend you cut off. You had the chance. You had the time. But time has run out. This isn't a set meant to scare you. It's dids meant to wake you up. Because you stir not dead. You stir still here. And you still have time. The truth is, most of us are sleepwalking through life. We think we said are living, but we said are just surviving. And it's only after death that we see how much we wasted. But what if you didn't wait until then? What if you could live with the clarity of someone who already crossed over? That's what this video is for. To help you see now what your soul will know later. And the first thing you will know, without a doubt, is this. Life was shorter than you thought. So don't waste it. Don't put off the hard conversations. Don't live for what you can take with you. Don't wait for some perfect day to start over. You still have breath in your lungs. That means today. You still have time to choose what kind of story your life will tell. Part 2. I don't belong here anymore. You're watching everything, but it's like you're not really in it anymore. You see your body lying there, but you're no longer inside. You see people rushing, crying, shouting your name, but you can't touch them. You can't respond. You're right next to them, and a million miles away. That's when the second realization hits. I don't belong here anymore. You feel it in your bones. Though you don't have bones anymore. A deep, undeniable sense that you've stepped out of the world you once knew. And there's no going back. Up until now, everything in your life felt connected to this earth. Your job, your family, your memories, your dreams, your morning coffee, your favorite shoes, the road you always took to work. But now, none of it belongs to you anymore. You're not part of the system. You're not part of the noise. The worries of the world fade like a radio being turned off. The responsibilities that once felt crushing, deadlines, bills, appointments, they disappear in an instant. It sets quiet, still, and strange. Ecclesiastes 12:7 says, "The dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it." You feel that separation now. Body one place, spirit another. And as peaceful as it might seem, it's also incredibly disorienting. You realize how much you relied on your body, your senses, your schedule, the rules of this world. But now you're in a place where none of that applies. You stir in between. Some people describe this moment like standing at the edge of two realities. One behind you, quickly fading, and one ahead, waiting but unknown. You may try to move. You may try to speak. But it sits not the same. Nothing responds like before. That sips because you stir not meant to go back. Your connection to this world has been cut. The cord is severed, and as much as you want to cling to it, you can't. This world doesn't hold you anymore. You stir not meant to stay. Some describe it as a feeling of floating. Others say it's like walking through a dream. You see things, but they don't respond. You move, but not with feet. You feel, but not with skin. It's such not a dream. It's does not sleep. It's dubs more real than anything you've ever felt. You've stepped into a different plane of existence. One where who you are is no longer tied to what you had. You stir just you. And it makes you wonder, if I no longer belong here, where do I belong? This is the beginning of a deeper awakening. And in that space between the worlds, one truth starts to rise above all others. You weren't made just for earth. You always felt it, at funerals, in quiet moments, staring at the stars. That sense that you're part of something bigger, that life was never meant to end in a box or a grave, that something eternal was calling you. Now that you've left your body, that whisper becomes a roar. You were meant for more. Part 3. Why did I care so much about the wrong things? It hits you like a wave. Not pain, not panic, but a deep, aching clarity. You start remembering things you didn't think would matter. The late-night arguments, the silent treatments, the moments you chased attention online while ignoring someone who loved you right in front of you. You remember obsessing over your weight, your looks, your income, your reputation. And now, none of it matters. In that moment after death, the spotlight shifts. You're no longer thinking about how people saw you. You start thinking about how you treated them. You're not worried about the number of followers you had. You're thinking about the people you walked past without even noticing. All the things you lost sleep over seem so small now. All the things you ignored seem huge. Jesus once asked a haunting question in Mark 8:36. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? Now you understand what he meant. You could have it all: fame, wealth, approval, even applause. But if you never knew what really mattered, you missed everything. And you start to see it clearly. You chased shadows. You worked overtime to impress people who forgot your name a week later. You held on to grudges that only poisoned your own soul. You said someday to things that really mattered. Someday I settle forgive. Someday I settle apologize. Someday I settle change. But someday never came. You realize you spent so much of life trying to look like you had it all together, when what you really needed was healing. You were too busy to rest, too proud to admit you were hurting, too distracted to be still. And now, with nothing left to chase, you wish you could go back. Not to be richer, not to be more famous, but to simply live differently. To stop comparing yourself to people who were just as insecure as you. To stop loving things and using people instead of the other way around. To stop letting fear decide what kind of life you were allowed to live. You would have hugged more, spoken softer, listened deeper. You would have said, I am sorry faster. And I love you without waiting for the perfect moment. But now, the moment is gone. And that sips what hurts the most. Because you realize, you knew. You always knew deep down what was important. But you let the noise drown it out. And now the noise is gone. And truth is all that seps left. This moment after death doesn't lie to you. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't spin. It simply reveals. And one of the clearest things it reveals is this. You cared too much about the wrong things. Not because you were evil, but because you were human. Because life was loud, and pain was real, and distractions were endless. But none of that changes what sits true now. And the truth is, you can't take any of it with you. Only love remains. Only what you gave. Only how you lived. Part 4. Who am I? Without all this, you never realized how much of your identity was built on things that could be taken away until they were. Your name,
Your job.
your body, your house, your style, your status, your story. All of it stayed behind. And now, as you drift farther from the life you once called yours, a deeper question rises in the silence. Who am I without all this? You see, on Earth, we spend our whole lives becoming someone. But most of that someone is made out of temporary pieces. The clothes we wear, the friends we attract, the words people say about us, the mirror we trust too much. We let those things define us. We say, this is me. This is who I am. But now, it sips all gone. And the real you is standing alone. Not the you that people praised. Not the you that people criticized. Not the you pretended to be just to feel loved. Just you, stripped down, exposed, eternal. And for the first time, you see yourself clearly. You see the brokenness you tried to cover with smiles. You see the fear you hid behind ambition. You see the insecurity that dressed itself up as confidence. You see the pain you never dealt with, just buried and kept walking. And yet, there's something else. You also see a flicker of beauty, of wonder, of longing. Something inside you always knew this world couldn't satisfy you, that money couldn't fix what was aching in your chest, that applause couldn't heal the loneliness in your soul, that distraction couldn't erase the deeper questions. And now, outside of all the noise, you finally face those questions head on. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has set eternity in the human heart." That means you were always meant to long for something more. Not more stuff, not more success, but something bigger than all of it, something eternal. And that longing is still there, even now, even after death. Because deep down, your soul was never meant to end. You were created with eternity in mind. So now, you're left standing with the question, if I'm not what I wore, or where I worked, or what they said about me, then who am I? You are a soul, a being created on purpose, for something more than just survival, more than chasing highs and hiding hurts. You were meant to be known, to be loved, to be made whole, but for that to happen, you need someone greater than you. Someone who doesn't just see the performance, but sees the person underneath. And this is when another realization begins to dawn. If there sips more to you than just the physical, if your soul outlives your skin, then maybe, just maybe, this isn't the end of your story. Maybe it's the beginning of the one that finally tells the truth. Part 5. What was I really looking for? You think back to everything you chased. Success, security, love, adventure, control. You remember the big goals, the late nights, the quiet dreams you never told anyone about, the ache in your heart that you tried to silence with distractions, the restlessness you carried, even when everything on the outside looked fine. Now that you're outside of time, it all feels different. And you start asking a question you never slowed down enough to ask. What was I really looking for? Because it wasn't just the job, or the relationship, or the praise. You were reaching for something deeper. You were looking for peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on your situation. You were looking for purpose, a reason to wake up that didn't vanish when things got hard. You were looking for love, steady, honest, unconditional, not performance-based, not temporary, not fake. And you were looking for home, not a building, but belonging, a place where your soul could finally stop running. On earth, we're taught to look in every direction, except the right one. We're told happiness is in what we achieve, that identity is something we invent, that success will satisfy us, that pain can be ignored, that truth is whatever we want it to be. But now, standing outside of that world, you see through it. None of those things were ever enough. You were made for something more. And deep down, you always knew it. Even in your darkest moments. Even when life didn't make sense. There was always a quiet whisper. There's more than this. And now, that whisper is deafening. Because now you know. You weren't just looking for something. You were looking for someone. Someone who sees through your masks. Someone who doesn't run from your mess. Someone who holds the power to calm the chaos inside of you. Someone whose love doesn't change, even when you do. In John 14:6, Jesus didn't say, I'll show you the way. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. You weren't just looking for peace, you were looking for Him. You weren't just looking for purpose, you were looking for Him. You weren't just looking for truth, you were looking for Him. You weren't just looking for home, you were looking for Him. You just didn't realize it until now. The ache you carried wasn't stat random. It was holy. It was a reminder that you were made for more. And the more you were searching for had a name: Jesus. Conclusion. While you still have time, if you're hearing these words right now, it means you're still here. You're still breathing, still waking up to mornings, still able to choose. And that means this moment matters more than you know. Because one day, everything we've talked about won't be a theory anymore. It won't be a video. It won't be someone else's story. It will be yours. That final breath is coming for all of us. But right now, God has given you one more. And that sip's a gift, a mercy, a chance, not to live in fear, but to live with purpose. You don't have to wait until death to know what matters. You don't have to keep chasing things that never satisfy. You don't have to carry shame or regret any longer. The same Jesus who will meet you at the end is reaching for you now, with grace, with forgiveness, with arms wide open. So come to him. Come with your questions. Come with your pain. Come with your past. He already knows. And he still wants you, because he didn't just die to save your soul after death. He rose again so you could start living now. Don't said wait for someday. Don't pied wait for a sign. This is the sign. You still have time. But none of us knows how long. So if something in you is stirring, don't brush it off. That sip's not emotion. That sip's not coincidence. That sip's eternity knocking. Answer while the door is still open. And one day, when that final breath comes, you won't face it with fear. You shall face it with peace, because you feel know where you fear going. And more importantly, you as ill know who sips waiting for you there. Thank you for watching. May the truth settle deep in your heart, and may the peace of God go with you today and forever. God bless you.